Another thing you'll notice with these servos is that the servo leads are really short. Hey guys, welcome back to Revolution XRC. Welcome to the next part of my Axial SCX10III build series. In this part, we're going to be completing the electronics installation. We'll be completing the inner fenders as well as the motor cover. For this part of the series, you'll need bag G, bag H, an ESC of your choice. In this case, I'm using a Hobbywing 1080. I'll put a link to this in the description below. You'll also need micro servos if you're going to be utilizing the dig and 2-speed functionality. I'm using the Spectrum SX1007 micro servos. I'll put a link to these in the description below. And I will be adding this receiver for my FlySky GT5 system right here, and I'll put a link to this in the description below as well. Starting with step G1, you'll need the parts from bag G. And in this part, we're going to be starting off with the battery tray. For step G1, you'll need the following. Now, there are two battery trays supplied. There's a shorty battery tray that goes on the skid here on the chassis. That's where the shorty battery tray goes. And there's a normal size battery tray that goes right across here. So you have your choice of which one to use. And that is the standard battery tray setup right there. Of course, you would put the Velcro through it. Just like that. That's the standard size battery tray setup. Now for the shorty battery tray, you get two more battery ends here. Now they were hiding in the receiver box, so I didn't see them at first, and we'll go ahead and install those as well. And that completes step G1, the shorty battery tray and the standard size battery tray. Just to give you an idea of where they go. The shorty battery tray pretty much goes over here, somewhere around here. And the standard battery tray will mount right over here, probably like so. So actually, I think this piece here is reserved for the shorty battery tray, so let's take that off. There's already a mount here, so the regular size battery tray would mount right there. And let's go ahead and complete the shorty battery tray. Now that really completes step G1. Right there. Shorty and standard size battery tray. You'll need the following for step G2. That completes step G2. In step G3, you'll need 2 or 1 micro servo depending on if you're using the 2-speed and the dig functionality. Here are the parts that you'll need for step G3. Now, regarding the micro servo, if you are not using the Spectrum SX1007 micro servo, you will need to find this part right here. I believe this part only comes with the Spectrum micro servo. They might have a parts tree that has it. If I find it, I'll put a link to it in the description below. Another thing you'll notice with these servos is that the servo leads are really short. So you're gonna have to make your own extensions or buy some extensions. I have the tools to make my own servo leads or extend them, and I'll show you that in a bit. Alright, so for the servo extension wire, I basically have some extra servo wire here that I usually cut off. And I also have a kit with all the connectors. You can see some of the connectors here, as well as the extension connectors right there. So I'll need 2 of these. Actually, I'll need more. One side going into the receiver, one side going to this extension right here. So I'll need 4 of these. Right there. Two of these. And I'll need to make some of these. So let's see. This little kit I have comes with let's see, what size? The male and the female. And I've also got an IWISS crimper. And I'll put a link to all these in the description below. Alright, so you can see here that I've made servo extension wires for these SX1007 servos. And now we're ready to proceed with step G3 and put them on the chassis. And that's where we'll adjust the servos. Now I am using a FlySky GT5 radio. I will be putting the dig and 2-speed on channels 5 and 6, so they'll be controlled via analog. I'll put the dig on channel 6 because it's closer for me to reach, and it's something I'll be using more often than the 2-speed, which I'll put on channel 5.
These are already sold out in most places.
Oh, that, okay.
Next shipment from Axial goes out on the 20th of April.
Okay. Now the fact that they're sold out, like, that could mean that there's a lot of them at dealers. So check your dealers and see if they
Here you can see how my 2-speed and dig are set up. My dig on channel 6. So this is not, this is engaged, and this is dig engaged. So 4-wheel drive, dig engaged. And right here we have low gear, high gear. Low gear, high gear. So it's really easy. You just adjust the endpoints and basically just turn the knob all the way in one direction or the other. And with the 2-speed and dig servos installed, that completes step G3. For step G4, you'll need the following pieces. And you also need your ESC, which I'm using the Howie Wing 1080 right here. Alright, for the rest of step G4, I decided to mount my ESC on the shorty battery tray, and that's because I don't have a small enough battery to be light enough to kind of be balanced out with the rest of the electronics on this side. Whatever battery I put, this is my smallest battery right now, and it's much heavier than this combination here would be. So I decided to put the ESC on this side to balance it out. Plus, there were a lot of wires going on here and it was just hard to get room. So this will need to be soldered up to the motor, and the power go to the battery in the back right there. So that completes step G4. For step H1, you'll need the following pieces. Now I'm very surprised by these fenders. They're much lighter than I thought they would be. If you've ever had the Traxxas ones are much heavier. I mean, these are more flexible and thinner than the Traxxas ones, but they're also much lighter. So I think it's overall a good compromise between looks and performance. That completes step H1. For step H2, you'll need the following. Now I'm just going to install the motor cover just for fit and see how well it fits, and to find out my clearances for the motor wires. But otherwise, I'm probably going to take it back off, and I'm actually going to paint and detail this before I put it on. Now I'm noticing that the holes up here are pretty snug, so I am going to grease them using the supplied black grease to kind of give some lubrication as far as screwing those holes in. Here we go, it's H2. And this completes this part of the build series. We got the battery trays installed, the electronics installed, as well as the motor cover and the inner fenders. I hope you enjoyed this part of the series. Please like and subscribe, hit that notification bell to be notified of the next part of the Axial SCX10III build series, and thanks for watching.